All right, guys, welcome to Survivor Buffs. Here we are. Um, I know that this channel is pretty much just exclusively for reviewing Donda, but we decided to mix things up today, and we are going to recap the first episode of season 41. As you can tell, I lost most of my voice, so Gideon's going to go ahead and do most of the talking today. I'll try to contribute where I can. We went a little partied a little hard last night. We got to visit um, Wendell's little Survivor Bash watch party. Um, Check out our Instagram for some cool photos. But it was very loud, so we had to talk at the top of our lungs for about
Yes.
five hours straight. So I'm
Yes.
my does my voice sound a little deeper than normal as well?
Yeah, you sound like you're gargling marbles, but it's all good.
Okay. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. We got to go. I got to meet Gideon's girlfriend. We went there with Coach Drew, and so I got to meet Coach Drew for the first time, and I got to meet Alexa from Survivor Specialists in person for the first time. She came with us as well. But oh man, we're super excited. I mean, we kicked off this channel back in the end of February. This was the thing we were like. Me and Gideon personally were the most excited for to start recapping live Survivor season. So every week, after the episode, the day after, hopefully around noon, we can recap the episode for you guys. And I promise for future episodes, I'll be more enthusiastic and you'll hear my voice more.
Yeah.
But before we go into the episode, lots to decompress. Gideon has a pretty cool announcement about the channel.
Yeah, guys. So, first of all, as you guys saw, we did hit 1,000 subs on the Reality Pop channel, and that allowed us to do a little thing called YouTube memberships. So, if you're on your
Memberships.
desktop, yep, if you go on your desktop, right beside the subscribe button is now a join button. If you hit that button, and it is $5 a month. At the end of every single Reality Pop episode, you will get a little shout out. Your name will be mentioned at the end of every video. If you pay the $10 tier of the memberships, which is the second tier, then you will come on every month with us, and we will host a little reality fan get together with all of the members and the memberships. So make sure you click that join button if you're on desktop. If you're on mobile, you can go to the community tab and join there. So yeah. Anyways, that's all optional. Of course, you can watch us for free as always. Me and Adam, there's not a paywall over us. It's just if you want to support the cause, support the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. Yes. But yeah.
I should say too, if you get the tier 1 membership, when we do interviews with our past contestants, we've done about 12. Me and Gideon have done 12, and then we do international Survivor interviews as well. Most of the time, those aren't recorded live. We pre-record them, so you would get access to those interviews early. And if you are a $10 member, you could actually sit in on the interviews. You would, maybe we get to be able to ask a question at the end or something, but you'd actually get to be on Zoom, basically Zoom. We use StreamYard with Lex or whoever we're interviewing that week. So it's a chance to actually get to meet over FaceTime some survivors. We're gonna have some buffs too for season 41, and if you're a $10 member, you get free entry into a raffle we're doing for some buffs. So,
yep,
cool stuff.
All right, I think we sold out, right?
And a personal and a personalized thank you message from the Reality Pop team, including Coach Drew if you're a Coach Drew fan.
Which a lot of Chris is. Yeah, a lot of Coach Drew fans. So yeah, okay. I think we've sold out enough here, and we've gotten everything out of the way. Now it's time for what everybody here watching live is for, and watching us afterwards. If you're in the live, make sure you drop us your thoughts while we're talking about it. Maybe we can respond to some of y'all's comments. This is live after all, so we'll try to get to you guys. But we're going to be talking about Survivor season 41. Keep the one, drop the four, whatever that is, and our thoughts on this episode. Just to start off, the overall reactions, and me and Adam were talking about this a little bit beforehand. It does seem to be a little mixed. It does seem like some people are like,
Mm-hmm.
I love the episode. Other people are like, I don't know how I feel. Like it was kind of a dumpster fire. Overall, I know me and Adam were probably liked the episode.
I liked it.
Yeah, we liked it. But I understand. I already see some people in the comments saying that they weren't the biggest fans. But either way, we're gonna dissect it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not too much. I mean, obviously it was a 2 hour episode, so there is like a lot to talk about. But it's also episode one, so like there's not going to be any big moves or like a huge idol play. It's mostly just episode one is the getting to know the characters episode.
which
Um,
which I think they did a really good job at. And
mhm,
I know you can speak to this a little more than I have because you watch Australian Survivor.
right.
But I'm hearing that they took a little note from Australian Survivor with including
Mhm.
those videos from out of the island at their workplace.
Yeah. Australian Survivor goes a little more into it. They usually have like a 2 to 3 minute video package for everyone. A bunch of footage from their daily lives. So it's interesting. It's actually not the only thing. I noticed that they, I want to say copy, but maybe were influenced by Australian
Really?
Survivor. There's actually a couple things throughout the episode, but that was definitely the big one. Which, if you are an Australian Survivor fan, that seems to be something that fans have been saying. Oh, I wish U.S. Survivor would do this too to show their backstories. Because at the end of the day, obviously the main reason why they don't is because they really want that feel of just we're in the jungle, we're on the island, and any moment that's not that makes it feel a little less real. But so I get that from a production standpoint, but at the same time, seeing those little glimpses of their lives outside of the show makes these guys a little bit more relatable, and then when they get voted off, it's a little bit more it's a tougher pill to swallow. So,
It is, and it did. It felt like a little bit of a throwback as well, just because not Australian Survivor didn't do it first, but they have done it recently. However, the
mhm,
clips from home that, of course, started with Borneo. They included little clips then, and there's those classic clips like I remember them showing Boston Rob in the construction field, like
right,
stuff like that. So it
yeah,
did feel like we were getting brought back a little bit. Another thing that I felt like we were getting a little bit of a throwback was while there wasn't a complete theme song, they did include a little snippet of the original Survivor theme song. And me and Adam were, in Wendell's party when we were watching this. And when that little hi, 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 like everybody started going absolutely nuts.
crazy.
Yeah, it gave me chills, dude. Like, because everybody, it's the theme song. Everybody wants the theme back. It seems like they just won't freaking do it.
Hmm.
But that was great to see as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what's cool, I feel like they did such a good, cool way to start off the episode with Jeff sort of walking and talking to the camera. It almost felt like the start of like a reunion show. And in a way, we are kind of this 41 is somewhat of one big reunion show because all the fans are reuniting with the game itself. That makes
Okay.
sense. Um,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just a thing at the beginning. Jeff talked to and looked at the camera a couple times, which I don't know if that was like announced, but it definitely was at least like heavily rumored that that was going to be a thing that Jeff was going to start interacting, you know,
I like
interacting with the
it.
fans.
I mean, I'm a theater guy. I love
He
it
kept it to a
when
minimal.
yeah, but I liked it though because I've taken some film classes and in film classes they're always like they talk about that fourth wall. And, I love it
Hmm.
when people break down that fourth wall. It was interesting though, like we aren't talking about tribal council yet, but they go into tribal council and Jeff turns to the camera and goes, "First tribal council, let's go." And that's just like, it's strange. It's new, but I mean, it was
Yeah.
a nice touch. I didn't mind it as long as it wasn't constant. I mean, I ain't gonna have a problem with it.
Yeah. And I did like the moment when he gave out his Twitter handle, told him to tweet at him,
Yeah.
which I saw a lot of people did, and we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Don't worry, guys. I mean, don't worry, everyone. Yeah, showing character backstories, Jeff talking to the camera. One of the other new things. And talking to the camera, I don't remember seeing that because I watch U.S., South Africa, and Australia, and I'm pretty sure that's never happened in any season. So maybe they took influence from
this
Malcolm
episode made history in many ways, and that was just the first.
Yeah. Well, one of the other new things to the show. That's the thing is there's always new things. There's a difference between new things to the show and new things to the game. You know what I mean? Like we're not like obviously there's new things to the game too, but I think the biggest thing that's in this era is the changes that are to the actual show. Like Jeff looking at the camera, like that doesn't affect the game itself, or having backstories. That just affects the edit and everything. But one of the other new things that I'd actually thought had this idea of doing this years ago was, and again they kept it pretty minimal, was that they showed production a little bit. They would show boom mics, they would show cameras, not just at the beginning, but there was a couple times throughout the episode where they would show like the wires they have attached in certain moments, which I thought was cool. Again, I feel like I like these changes, and I like that they kept them to a minimal. I feel like if it's going to be a sort of thing where we always see production, it's just going to take us so out of it. And then maybe the last thing is, and this they definitely took from Australian Survivor. I think there was a lot of like slow-mo and action shots and like handheld, cameras.
Yeah, we saw that a lot during the challenge, the immunity challenge.
Yeah, for sure. So what did you think of all those changes?
Well, I mean, the editing, I feel like, the editing was great on season 40, and I just feel like it was good now again. Those slow-mo shots definitely added to it. And I'm a big fan of the slow-mos, of the breaking the fourth wall, of the showing production, as long as it's kept to a minimum. But I was a big fan of the editing. That was like the first thing I noticed when the episode started. I was like, oh, the editing for this season's actually pretty good. So yeah, I was a big fan.
Yeah, some new editing tricks. They'll zoom in more on their faces, and I'm a filmmaker, so I noticed, and I'm an editor and a photographer, so I noticed a lot of those things. I think more than the average fan would.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the new style of shots, they had a lot of camera movement itself. But there was so we start off with the marooning. No advantage at the marooning, but yellow team had some trouble there.
Just want to point this out. Let me question you and everybody watching here. Did the yellow team have a tougher time than the other tribes because the boat itself was yellow? Just throwing that out there, because we're talking about the marooning, and while there wasn't a real marooning where they had to gather supplies and get off, it was more of a challenge so they could get flint.
Yeah.
The boat is lined with yellow lines, and the last paddle that they were looking for, what is it wrapped up in? Yellow rope. So I feel like yellow did have a disadvantage, even if they did suck overall, but still I did feel like they started out already on the wrong leg because the boat was yellow. So of course they're going to have a harder time finding their paddles that are yellow.
Right.
Blue and green stand out.
Yeah, and then blue had trouble because they forgot to. I knew that was the case. I was like, how do they not realize that they haven't unclipped the back?
They were pulling an anchor.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I feel like Jeff had to tell both tribes that were in the water, like, You got to do this. You got to do this. Don't forget to do this. I was like, was this challenge explained, or they just say go? Because when they're like, whenever Jeff explains the challenge to the audience, and he says, "All right, I'll give you guys a minute to strategize, and then we'll go for it." Between that moments and when they actually play, it like a whole hour passes. Like they run through the challenge. They have people from production come out and like run through the challenge in front of them, so they know exactly how it works. I don't know if it's exactly an hour, but I've been told it's quite a bit. It's not like they start right away. But I'm wondering if for this challenge, Jeff was just like, all right, go, and didn't really explain it that well, because it seemed like on all fronts. And I think, too, is maybe everyone was just so, oh, my God, I'm here. There's cameras, a little bit flustered. So
I think it had – I think it did have to do a little bit with nerves and pressure and like, oh, my gosh, this is the first Survivor challenge, and our tribe has to do well, which obviously blue and yellow failed in those categories. And obviously green got it figured out eventually and did pretty good. Everybody had their hiccups. Green was able to overcome them. Right. But what I found interesting is how far blue made it in the water with an anchor attached.
That was impressive.
With an anchor. And we should have seen that as foreshadowing for the immunity challenge that, they're a very strong tribe. They were paddling with an anchor. Yeah. That too. Yeah, that's a great point in the chat there. David trying to get up, looking for the paddle on, and Jeff goes, has Jeff ever done that? Like, there's nothing up here, man. Like, I promise.
Yeah. Let us know in the chat, or if you're not watching this live, let us know in the comments what you guys thought of the episode, because me and Gideon both liked it, but
not everybody.
But we can, but we can we hear you.
We hear you out.
If there was one person who, if I asked like, who do you think had the most screen time, or if there was one person for this 2-hour episode that you think had like the most focus on,
I know who it is, but you can tell me who you think it is.
I think it was probably JD.
Okay, so guess how many confessionals JD had in this episode?
I'll guess 7.
Higher. He had 11.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Had
Is that
11,
the most of
11 confessionals, as opposed to the preseason winners edit. Ricard only had 4. The second highest was Danny with 8.
Yeah.
They had I saw a graph on Twitter today. So yeah, JD, this was definitely JD's confessional episode. We'll see if the trend continues. But
he definitely got the most screen time of the Green Tribe, which is surprising because the Green Tribe has Ricard, has Chantel, has Jenny, and Brad, and like a lot of the big characters I feel like are on the Green Tribe. And I called it from the beginning. I thought the Green Tribe was going to be the fun tribe, the charismatic tribe, but also the dramatic tribe.
Yeah, our preconceived notions about the tribes, were we correct?
Well, we said blue would be the best at challenges. I think they were.
That is what we said.
They won immunity, and if they had unclipped that boat, they sure would have won.
They would have won.
For sure would have won.
They were halfway to the buoy with an anchor, which is crazy to me. Nobody points that out, but they were literally paddling, and they were like, I feel like we aren't moving as much as we should. Well, they had a freaking anchor. Yeah.
I mean, Deshaun is strong. Sydney and Danny are great athletes. Obviously, Danny was an ex-NFL player. And then Nasir and Erica, so they're great puzzle makers, I believe. So, or not puzzle makers, puzzle solvers. Puzzle solvers. JD kind of seemed like the main focus of the episode.
It was definitely
not always in a good way, though. Not always in a good way, though.
Yeah, they did kind of give JD like that, what they did to Nick in Winners at War, kind of like he's trying too hard to make connections everywhere. Like kind of like they're kind of setting JD up to be like the try hard, like always in people's business character. Even though people love him, I love him. I like him a lot. But they did kind of give him an edit. They did kind of give him an edit there at the beginning. when he was talking about making connections with everybody. And then, they have clips of after they get on the island after the challenge of him talking to everybody, making connections. And then immediately after they're at the well saying they want to vote him off.
Right.
It
was interesting. Because it didn't seem warranted. It wasn't like Ricard, actually, who seemed to be playing a bit too much, trying to throw a target on someone a little too early. Or Deshaun or Danny looking for the idols, which we'll get to in a sec. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem like JD really did anything to put a target on himself. It just seemed like he was being
he didn't personal. Do anything. He didn't really do anything other than he might just not have been too self-aware and maybe got a little uber excited, for the first day because, you're that. I mean, how old is he? Freaking 20 now or 19 at the time they were filming, something like that. Yeah. I mean, the kid's straight out of high school going into this game. He's a huge Survivor fan. And what do all the great survivors do? They immediately go out Russell Hant style and make deals with everybody on the first day. And I think JD was kind of expecting that to happen a little bit. And, expecting people to be really receptive to him talking to people and making alliances with people already, because he was already slipping in, he was having casual conversations, but then slipping in, little sayings like, yeah, I got your back, crap like that already. And that's strategy. That's social mixed in with strategy, which is a great way to play. But the edit was kind of warranted because he did start off really strong, maybe a little too strong.
But it's not like he was talking like strategy with these guys, right? I mean,
it wasn't strategy, but obviously he's talking to these people and, he's talking to these people so he can be in alliances with them.
Yeah. I feel like the edit left something out, though. I feel like
the edit might have left something out because the edit made it seem like the conversations he had weren't genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, based on people's reactions to them.
Yeah, like based on the reactions, based off of the background music that's going on while he's talking. Like they have this goofy soundtrack going on while he's talking.
Like Sarah, when him and Sarah were talking, it seemed like it was going great. She was smiling and laughing. And then the next scene, she goes to the well and she's like, "Yeah, I don't trust JD."
Yeah, she says, I think her exact words were, "Yeah, JD's rubbing me the wrong way."
Yeah. And maybe she was just saying that because he wasn't there and she just wanted to throw out a target early that wasn't her, which
obviously a bad move. But
a bad move, yeah. If I did, since we're sort of talking about the Green Tribe, because I'm going to forget their name. I think Green is Ua, maybe, but I'm going to mess them up. But if there was someone on the Green Tribe that I think by the end of the episode was in the best position, I feel like it's got to be Chantel.
Of course. Right? And if you could do a power rankings of the entire cast right now, I feel like she would be at the top because she's literally in with everyone.
Every conversation.
She was in every conversation. She's right there in the middle where she wants to be. The only person that might not like Chantel was Brad. And, because Brad made that stupid decision of like that Survivor pre-tens move of telling someone that you want them to go home. What world are you on right now, Brad? But he did that, and even that still, maybe they have a little bit of a connection since he went for Sarah over Chantel.
He still voted with Chantel.
So. He still voted with Chantel. Chantel, they were kind of making it out to be like Chantel and Sarah were going to be a duo, but obviously she jumped ship to go be a duo with JD, it seems like now.
Yeah.
So
for sure. But before we get on to the votes, obviously they had that triangle versus water challenge. I think those sort of things are cool. I just feel like I don't want them to be in every episode because they, I feel like those sort of things would get old.
Which one would you have picked? Sweat.
I would have picked the triangle.
How many triangles do you think there are?
Well, there was 49. I knew it
49?
right away. As soon as they show the picture, I knew it was 49.
Yeah, because everybody on social media is like, that's easy. There's 14. And I'm like, dude, like I thought there was 49 or 50, everybody,
I actually have no clue.
I
know
think
Fishback was like 82 or something.
the answer I saw the most, and probably like the most foolproof one I saw, was 50. But
oh wow, I literally just said I was joking about 49.
We'll never really know unless CBS tells us, or if they just copy something.
So I have a list on my notes app of questions that we're going to ask when Probes comes on to this podcast. I'm going to add that to this question. I'm going to add this question to that.
How many triangles were on that? Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that should be the first. That really should be the first question.
It seemed like every Survivor castaway that was live tweeting during this thing was like, why did you choose 4 hours of hard labor, just 2 people, over doing the triangles, which is what we're about to talk about. Obviously, David had a problem with that.
Yeah.
But it seemed like everybody else was like, oh, yeah, carrying water. I think they underestimated that a little bit.
Yeah. And then what's up with Deshaun and Danny looking for an idol? I mean, how?
Day one.
Can you do that? How can you do that?
Looking for an idol on day one, I guess they thought that they were far away enough that they could get away with it.
Well, they were on such an open beach. And some people are like, oh, they probably just looked for like a second, but the edit made it look like they looked for longer. But Nasir caught them.
It wasn't the smartest move, and you got caught. Now, right. I don't think that was the best move for Nasir either.
I don't either, yeah.
I don't either, because Survivor,
or at least the way he presented it.
The way you should present it is probably talking to people one-on-one, so there's some sort of confidentiality in the way you're talking. Nasir, while he probably could have used that against them, or he could have used that to bring them closer to him. Maybe he could have talked to them about it and been like, hey, I saw you guys looking for the idol, but, just want to let you know, like, it's all good. Like, we all do it, whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
But Nasir kind of did it in a way in which he kind of ousted himself. And the way Survivor works is if you say something about another player, they're going to find out.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be very careful in which the way that you talk about people. Maybe that's a problem, with Nasir in his real life and his like upbringing, that he didn't really grow up in America and like didn't really have like social bonds with like people in America, and that's the way that people in America are. They're snakes. But that's the way it is on Survivor too. If you talk crap about somebody, they're gonna find out.
Yeah. Well, then it was a great move by Sydney to then tell them. And I think with that move, with letting them know, that move, in my opinion, puts Sydney as number one on the Blue Tribe. Because
Sydney, as we already guessed, is already working her way up,
She's been very low key thus far. But because Erica she didn't really do much this episode. This definitely wasn't her episode. Danny and Deshaun kind of went down because they got caught, and then Nasir kind of went down because Sydney basically snitched on Nasir. But she snitched on them to those two guys.
Yeah.
So now she's in with everyone.
Nasir is in trouble. Just to kind of preempt. I know this is a post show, but to kind of talk about what's going to happen next. I mean, that guy's in trouble. If he works his way out of it, more power to him. But he really ousted himself there, talking about how, they were looking for idols. Like, I know if I was a castaway and somebody's trying to, catch me looking for idols, I would try to get them out ASAP.
Yeah. I don't have too much to say on the summit thing. I think it's a cool idea. I wouldn't mind it if it was like sparingly. I feel like if they do that every episode, it's just gonna put targets on people's backs unfairly, and it's kind of like Island of the Idols. I feel like it's just, does this really have to be a thing that happens every episode that someone goes? Feels like most of the time it doesn't lead to anything. And of
Here's
course,
the
in the end, Tommy, the one person who didn't go, won. So
Yeah. Well, if you do want to talk about the summit, we can talk about it. But one, I feel like, there's a little bit of an alliance there with the three men who did go. And two, which a lot of people brought this up on social media already, you risk your vote, if you're a smart player. Because one, the first final tribal council, or the first tribal council, while it is usually a wild one, it usually doesn't come down to like one vote. It's usually like a landslide. You just got to be on the right side of the numbers, and that's based off of your own social skills. Also, if I would have met Danny at that summit, I would have gotten the vibe that he was going to protect his vote. So because of that, I also would have risked my vote as well. It is risky. It is a high risk, but I feel like that extra vote for the rest of the game really outweighs, losing your vote for the first final tribal. That really wouldn't matter anyways.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I would have risked it too. So why don't we just get to what everyone's talking about?
Before the challenge.
Since this episode aired, before the challenge, Jeff asked Ricard.
Ask the whole cast.
Yeah. Yeah, he had asked the whole cast at the very beginning. Do you guys mind if I keep saying, come on in, guys? Which, of course, is Jeff's, one of his survivor-isms or Jeff-isms. And if we get rid of it, that's also Idled Out's opening, his YouTube channel's videos. So that's going to have to be censored. No, but so Jeff, in case you forgot, Jeff asked if I can still say guys. Evie kind of spoke on behalf of everyone and said she was cool with it, and everyone sort of nodded. And then the next day, Ricard said, I actually don't like it. And man, it has caused probably the most talked about thing from the episode is that. So Ricard, I feel like, has gone from being sort of the main win, most people's pick to win, to probably being the most disliked of the season thus far. I mean, it's only been one episode, so
yeah, but Ricard is not having an easy time on social media, to say the least, right now.
Yeah. So we'll give our opinions on it. My opinion is, one is I always feel like you should always say what you feel unless it's going to hurt someone. And what Ricard said does not hurt anybody. And people are like, oh, maybe, no, everyone agreed with Evie. But clearly Ricard didn't agree with Evie, and he didn't say anything. Maybe there was other people on the tribes that was like, yeah, I actually would prefer if we didn't say guys. And Ricard sort of spoke up for them. We don't know. But I the way I live my life is you should always say how you feel. And so I applaud Ricard for doing that, even though I personally don't. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I personally feel like guy is, I say guy to girls all the time. I say, to me, guy is a, what do you call it, gender neutral word. So I don't fully understand his opinion, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go on Instagram or Twitter and be like, you suck. You should be, you ruined the show. Did you see the one message on his Instagram? Oh man, it's crazy. Yeah, that's just crazy. So I definitely don't get why people are freaking out over Ricard's comments. Even if you don't understand it or agree with it like myself, it's still nothing to, and the other thing too is they didn't really give him enough time to explain his reasoning. So hopefully we can clear the air. Hopefully we can get Ricard on the show on Survivor Buffs after the season, and he can fully explain his reasoning. But it also might be such a thing in the past by then. That's my opinion. I think people are way overreacting.
I agree, and we have no way of knowing Ricard's train of thought. Um, I feel if anybody was going to speak up about the guys thing, I figured it would be Ricard.
Yeah,
Not only because he is queer, but also because he's married to trans. He has a transgender husband.
yeah,
So I figured he would speak up about it. Now, me personally, I thought that guys was gender neutral. But if some people, feel uncomfortable with guys, it ain't my place to say that somebody else isn't uncomfortable. So I don't really give a crap. I don't really care. Replace it with "Come on in, kings and queens" and everything in betweens or something. But I mean, I just hold the position of I don't care. It's one of Jeff's isms, but as we've seen, they change throughout time, and if it changes now, I'm not gonna cry about it. It's not gonna ruin the entire season for me. What I will say is, I do like it when politics and social issues are kept out of Survivor, just because you constantly are barraged with it, like your entire life with media
right.
and the news and everything. And Survivor's an escape from reality. However, Survivor's also a social experiment, so it's hard to keep some social aspects out of
Right.
it. However, I really feel like after this episode, everything will be toned down immensely, and we won't see that as much. Even though, I mean, I don't really give a crap.
Yeah, for sure. There's, I agree. There's really only one Jeffism that like can never be changed,
The
and
tribe has
that's
spoken.
the tribe has spoken.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's no way that ever would. Um, but we get to the challenge, and not a super interesting challenge. Like it's one we've seen before. Wasn't really that epic. The puzzle was kind of cool at the end. Don't know what's up with. It's been two challenges, and we've already had three like huge mistakes with the paddle, or no, four mistakes. So the paddle missing, the not unclipping the boat, and then the seer dropping the bag, which Jeff so could have let him know before they went all the way down
Actually,
the
actually,
track.
Deshaun dropped the bag.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought it was sincere.
Nasir
Uh,
went back and picked it up. Deshaun carried two
oh,
bags,
okay,
put them on, dropped one of
okay,
them.
all right. And then at the end, the Green Tribe was doing the puzzle and missed a bag. It's like it's day one too. Why are these guys? It's not like it's day 30, and it's like or we're just not all there, and they're forgetting things. Then I understand, but the first day or two, I mean, four huge mistakes. Oh, it's just you know. But huge comeback for the Blue Tribe. I think they're clearly the most well-rounded when it comes to challenges, as we predicted here in Survivor Buffs. Um, but yeah, so Ricard sort of continued his target on JD, which personally I don't think is smart because, um, you know, when you paint a target on someone this early, the two biggest things you can do to do so is saying, "Oh, there's such a big social threat," which clearly JD wasn't because people were saying he's rubbing them the wrong way, or because they're a big athlete, or like the opposite, like a liability in challenges, which JD is not. So Ricard, from what the edit showed us, didn't seem to have any grounds to his targeting for JD. So I wasn't too surprised when JD ended up not getting voted out because there really wasn't any reason to. I guess because he didn't believe him, but
Yeah,
I
and
don't know.
Ricard always like it seemed like almost immediately Ricard was like honing in on JD as his target. And I mean, I can kind of get that because he might be that power threat to Ricard, because I think, Ricard does want to take control of his tribe and of the game. And
Yeah,
JD might be the obstacle that gets in the way of that. Also, because um, JD sucks at telling the truth. Like when he was telling the story after he got back from the island, it did seem a little off.
yeah,
And for the most part, he was telling the truth. Like it seemed like at least maybe this was just the edit, but it seemed like he was struggling just saying like
What actually happened?
yeah, what actually did happen. So if I'm a tribe mate of his, I'm like, dude, like you're stumbling over your words, telling me this stuff. I'm not sure I believe you. Danny did a good job of talking about it because he told the complete truth and he didn't stutter. And same with Xander. Xander did a good job and he was surprisingly open about the fact that he did risk his vote. But he took the angle that this is for the tribe. I'll put my neck on the line for the tribe. And everybody seemed to buy it.
Yeah.
Evie in her confessional was saying, I mean, I don't mind it at all. So,
Right.
but obviously JD's lying, but he was struggling just to say what actually happened. So Ricard was probably basing his target off of that as well.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. So, and again, it just goes to show how great of a position Chantel is, because no matter what person's name was being thrown out as a potential vote off, she was always in that conversation. Even when Brad was saying Sarah to her face, Chantel was still there. So, and like I said, I know I didn't have Chantel too highly in our 2 preseason analysis, but what I did say is the reason why is because she's so this big ball of high energy, and typically on Survivor, those high energy people come across as annoying and get voted off pretty early. But what I said was, if she is able to sort of hone that in and calm down when she's in front of people, I think she could get far. And it seems like she's doing just that. So like I said,
Yeah.
if I could pick someone who I think is like at the sort of like perform in the best position on each tribe, I think it would be Sydney on the blue tribe, Chantel on the green tribe, and for the yellow tribe, it's a little tough. I honestly might say Evie for the yellow tribe. It seemed like she was the one person who was in every conversation. Where is she on the confessional list? She had a couple.
She did have a couple. I can't say it off the top of my head, and I'd have to go track it back down on Twitter.
Okay.
But yeah, about Effie. Effie was like preseason probably most hated. Now people are starting to like her a lot more.
Yeah.
Exactly what me and Adam said. Hate is never deserved preseason because you don't know anything about that person. Evie she said her hobby's hating men, yet at her tribe, she like wants to work with David and like wants to work with Xander.
And Xander, yeah.
Yeah, the men. Which I like to see that. So I think Evie's really in with everybody. So yeah, I would put her at the top of that tribe. And for Blue, I think somebody that you're forgetting to mention is Erica, who carried Blue in the challenge with the puzzle.
Yeah.
So I feel like because she carried.
Did she have any confessionals? I feel like I didn't hear her talk at all.
She had like 1 or 2, not that much, but I mean, she carried Blue into winning the entire thing. She went through that puzzle quick. I think Deshawn was just a little helper handing her the pieces. She was ripping through it.
Yeah, for sure. So 2 tribes had to vote someone out. On the yellow tribe, it was between Tiffany and Abraham, and on the green tribe, it was between Sarah and JD. We already talked about Sarah. Obviously, was just because of poor performance of the challenge. Similar to Tiffany and Abraham, kind of the 2 older, weaker, physically weaker, non-athletic.
Abraham didn't make a lot of sense to me because he did good in the challenge. He was carrying 2 bags. Like, he was their strength. And with them kicking him off, he was blindsided. I wasn't blindsided by that vote because I knew they were throwing out his name a little bit. But I was just like, it doesn't make a lot of sense for your tribe voting him out.
Yeah, I think it was just more of a thing of he vibed the least with everybody. I think that was really it. I think everyone really liked Tiffany. And I was worried there because Tiffany was my winner pick. I was worried there at the beginning, but I think people just chose Tiffany because I think they just liked her presence a lot better. Abraham just seemed like he was so, you know,
Tiffany did not have a
headstrong.
strong start. She did not have a strong start at all. But it's like she said it in her confessional. She's really good at being social. And,
Yeah.
obviously that's true because she got in with everybody pretty quick. Abraham's an older guy and she's an
Mm.
older woman, but it's just Eric, which he was on my fantasy team. But, I mean, it's pretty much what I thought would happen is that you're like the older military guy and you can't relate to anybody else. And it did seem like that's what happened, even though he wasn't a liability in challenges.
Yeah. Who had Sarah on their team?
You.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So those two went home. No one played their dice. Oh, what are your thoughts on the whole dice rolling thing?
So a 16.7% chance to get safety. I mean,
Yeah, and also, can you only use it once?
I don't know. They haven't.
I feel like
There's a lot of things that we don't know about the dice challenge, or the dice roll that we'll have to figure out when it happens. Like, if you use it, does my chances of getting it now increase to 1 out of 5 if I do it too at the same time as you? Like,
right.
I don't know. Like they haven't like harped on it too much. Maybe we'll learn more about it when it gets played. I know for me personally, and for the tribe, you can use it strategically. You can make someone feel like they're going to go home and try to flush out a vote and like try to flush away their vote. But then you also take that risk of them becoming safe. So I think because of that, this season, we're going to see a lot of splits. We're going to see some strategy, like trying to make people scared of going home. There's a lot of different ways you can play this angle.
Just to show everyone our fantasy teams so you can see where we're at.
Oh, wait, I freaking got her?
Yeah, she was your first female pick.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
Well, look at me, guys. I'm doing so great already.
Yeah. So, yep, that's our fantasy teams. We'll show you this. We'll show this graphic to you guys every week so you can see where we stand.
I'm down.
If you missed,
down 2 players already.
If you missed our fantasy draft, we're not doing any sort of points or how many people you have at the end or whatever. We're just doing. We'll do that in the future. For this first time, we're just doing whoever has the winner wins the fantasy draft.
Which is still gonna be me. So.
Also, one last thing I wanted to add: Jeannie voting for Ricard. Was that just a rogue vote, or was there any strategy
there was reasoning behind that. I think she recognizes that Ricard is like trying to get into a power position. And I think Jeannie wanted to shake him up. Their strategy to throwing out a vote that is not going to matter, but shaking them up because Ricard will wonder who that is. Jeannie's not going to admit to it, hopefully. And hopefully that'll like shake the tribe dynamics up so Jeannie can get in with people. I don't think it was rogue. I think there was some meaning.
All right, we'll see.
People might disagree with me, but
who do you guys, for those watching in the live chat, who do you guys think is going home next week? I'll give you we'll give you our predictions. So while you guys are typing that up, who's your? Gideon, you might have froze. One of us froze. Either I froze or you froze.
I froze.
There you go.
I froze.
Okay, we're good.
Sorry.
All right. Well, everyone type in your who you think's going home next week. While you're doing that, we'll give every week we're going to give performance of the week, who we thought based on what we saw, who gave the best performance. And I think we're going to agree on this one.
My performance of the week, this episode, I'm gonna give mine to Chantel. I feel like she's in with everybody. She made the right moves. While JD was flashy, and I'll give him my honorable mention because he got that extra vote, managed to come in as the biggest target and leave with no votes, which is very impressive. Chantel, if you look at who's making those good social moves, it's all her right now within her tribe. She is locked in with almost everybody, and she would have to mess up big time to go home soon.
Yeah, I actually have a somewhat controversial pick for performance of the week. I'm actually going to go with Sarah. No, I'll go with Chantel as well. I think we covered her enough. But all right, ask you guys who thinks going home. Incognito says Nasir. We have a couple Nasirs. Christians.
I don't know
Christians.
why people would think David's going home soon. He seems pretty in with people. He hasn't really rustled any feathers.
Someone said Ricard. Oh, Ty also said Nasir. Someone said Ricard. I gotta go back.
I can see Ricard going home.
Yeah, I can see Ricard going home.
I could see it. I could see it happening.
But I also could see Ricard win.
I could also see him winning too. It's just we're always gonna feel like Ricard might go home because his threat levels
Right. Yeah.
high.
Right. I feel like just like everyone at home is like, wow, Ricard has winner vibes. I feel like on the island they're thinking the same thing. Wow, this guy feels like a winner, like
I
a
feel
survivor
like
winner.
I think JD probably feels that the most because
Yeah.
Ricard's honing his energy on getting that guy out, and he's like, "Man, this guy's coming after me. I gotta fight back." I think
Right.
we might see a battle between Ricard and JD.
That'd be cool. I'm for it.
I'm for it.
Well, cool. Is that it? Did we cover everything?
I think we covered pretty much everything that was important. I mean, the Eric vote, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
He got blindsided. He just didn't vibe with everybody the most. We've already, it seems like physical suicide, but we'll see. And then we covered the vote out of Sarah. I guess we could talk about that a little more. I mean, with the Sarah vote out, they changed last minute. Ricard switched off of his target on JD to get after Sarah. Obviously, they discussed that at Tribal Council. They were whispering to each other. The whispering is back. They're whispering at Final Tribal again. And they switched their target over to Sarah. We talked about the Genie rogue vote.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad got what he wanted. Chantel is now going along with JD and maybe Ricard. Maybe Ricard and JD will be bonded together through Chantel, but we'll see.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, guys, thanks for everyone that was here in the live chat. If you're watching this later on or on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, thanks for listening. If you go to YouTube, drop us a comment. Tell us what you thought of the episode, who you think's going home next week, who your performance of the week is. Go ahead and join our Discord. We're going to be talking about the season up in our Discord all season long. Check out our TikTok. And if you haven't already, subscribe, like, losing my voice even more. Join. We got memberships now. You could be our first member. 10 years from now when we have thousands of members, you join now, you'll be one of those. You'll be one of the originals, the OGs.
That's right.
So pretty big deal. Big deal. Again, we're going to cover this every week, the day after the episode, and in future episodes, I won't sound like a 95-year-old man.
That's right.
Yeah. Unless Wendell keeps throwing watch parties. Blame Wendell. All right, guys. You have a good one. Oh, did I say guys again? All right. Everyone have a good one, and we will see you next week. Go Sydney.